You're now listening to the Art of Reinvention show hosted by your boy TeflonJohn, where my goal is to change the world one person at a time by provoking thought. And you're now in the right place to receive motivation, inspiration, so you can make it throughout your day, so you can make it throughout your week. And so like I said, I just want you guys to sit back and just absorb all the content. And as I always say, one love, be blessed. Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your boy TeflonJohn coming to you courtesy of the Art of Reinvention podcast show. And we're doing good today, man. Everybody's doing great. Everybody's doing lovely. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're listening in a good environment. I hope you're listening at work and you're having a great day. I hope you're at home and you're having a great day. Anywhere you are, guess what? I hope you're having a great day. And this podcast, like I said, is brought to you courtesy of the I Am TeflonJohn brand. And if you would love to support this podcast, all you have to do is hit the share button. All you have to do is share this across all your social media platforms and share this with a loved one, a coworker, or a friend. That's all. That's all I'm asking for. Just a share. But look, I appreciate you guys tuning in because you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me, your boy TeflonJohn. And right now we're going to get into today's episode, right? And today's episode is called, Are You Under the Influence? And I was going online, doing some research, and I came across this is, I think is a Varsa Network, varsanetwork.org/bestsummer. And, they had a couple behavioral signs of someone that's under the influence, right? And so let's start with number one. Someone that may be under the influence of drugs or alcohol, or may be abusing drugs or alcohol, may do the following. They may skip class, their grades may drop, they may get in trouble at school. They may drop in attendance and performance at work, loss of interest in extracurricular activities, hobbies, sports, exercise, decreased motivation, right? They may get complaints from coworkers, supervisors, teachers, classmates. Money may go missing, valuables, prescription drugs, borrowing and stealing money, right? Acting isolated, silent, withdrawn, engaging in secretive or suspicious behaviors, clashes with family values and beliefs, preoccupation with alcohol and drug-related lifestyle and music, clothing, posters, demanding more privacy, locking doors, avoiding eye contact, sudden change in relationship, friends, favorite hangouts, hobbies, frequently getting into troubles, arguments, fights, accidents, etc. And this is where we're going to talk, right? Because when we're looking at being under the influence, everybody assumes alcohol, and this was about alcohol and drug abuse. But my question to you, right? My question to you is, have you ever been under the influence? And some may think alcohol, but my question to you is, have you ever been under the influence of someone? I'm going to say that again. Have you ever been under the influence of someone or somebody? Because what's funny is these behavioral symptoms that I'm reading, these behavioral signs that I'm reading, sounds like you could be under the influence of people also. And we want to talk about that because sometimes in life you'll come across people who don't want to see you win. You'll come across people who come into your life to distract you from what you were put on this earth to actually get accomplished. And many times we downplay that because we got to realize that our purpose, right? Our purpose is tied into who we are, right? Who we are, our passions, what we love to do. But the problem is we surround ourselves with the wrong people and they choke the purpose out of us. They choke it out of us. And what we got to realize is that not everybody was meant to be in that close proximity to us. Some people are just meant to be, casual associates at work. Some people were meant to be, casual family members. Not everyone was meant, not everyone was meant to, share space, learn about what you're doing mentally. And we're just going to leave it like that. Not everyone should be in that know, right? And so when we look at the first sign, skipping class, grades dropping, getting in trouble at school, This could have nothing to do with alcohol, and it could have everything to do with the choices you're making as an individual. This could have everything to do with that. The choices you're making as an individual, who you're choosing to be with. Because you've seen it before where good girls go bad, good guys go bad because they're hanging with bad people. We've seen it time and time again where someone's behavior starts to change. Someone starts to act funny, or someone starts to show a decline in interest in school or whatnot, or their job, their professionalism, their family. And then you find out this person that they started hanging out with doesn't care about their job, their family, their school. So guess what? Birds of a feather flock together, and misery loves company. So what most people like to do is take over someone that they can easily influence. I'm going to say that again. Most people like and they love to take over someone who's easy to influence. You know what I mean? They love that. And so when we look at people, skipping class and everything, is your priorities are getting shifted. And slowly that happens when you hanging with certain people. And when we look at the second, they drop in attendance and performance at work, you'll see that a lot. You'll see people start to go out and party and chill and stay up late at night or whatever because they're getting involved in different lifestyles. And it actually hurts them more than it's helping them, right? It actually hurts them more than it's helping them because now their priority shift. Once again, their priority shift. So instead of going to bed, getting ready for work, instead of going to work, they're calling out. And all this could be because you're hanging with the wrong people. So again, I'm going to ask you, have you ever been under the influence? Drop it in the comments of this post. Drop it in the comments of the post on my website, TeflonJohn.com. Now we look at the other one, the complaints from coworkers, supervisors, teachers, and classmates, family members, whatever. And what happens is most times our attitude changes. Our attitude changes. So if this person has a nasty attitude, guess what? We're going to have a nasty attitude. If this person has a nasty disposition, guess what? We're going to have one. If this person doesn't care about how other people feel and they speak their mind, guess what? We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing. And that's what I want you guys to realize is sometimes you don't notice that you've changed. So you got to pay attention to the people around you when they're telling you your behavior is changing. Right? Missing money, valuables, prescription drugs, borrowing money, stealing. Now, that could be more directed towards someone that's under the influence of drugs or alcohol, but you could get influenced with drugs or alcohol by hanging around the wrong people. Now, I'm not saying that they're all to blame. What I'm saying is we all make our own choices, but you can be easily influenced by being around it, something that you would never be around to begin with, right? We looked at acting isolated, silent, withdrawn. And sometimes you'll withdraw from your family. Sometimes you'll withdraw from the people that have been there for you because this person is trying to isolate you. Normally, you can defeat somebody if they're isolated, when you get them by themselves. Now you can control their thoughts. You can control what they're doing. And you can also control, their other influences by eliminating them. So you get the good voices out of their head, and now you can implant your negative influence. So you got to be careful. I'm going to ask you again, have you ever been or are you under the influence of people? So we look at the next one, preoccupation with alcohol or drug-related lifestyle. So, like I said, I've seen many people that don't party, that don't drink. But guess what? Because their friend or this girl that they started hanging with or this guy, because that's what they do, guess what? They pick up these habits. And sometimes what's sad, some people don't come back from these habits, man. They get out there, they try the drug one time, they're hooked. They get out there and they try, alcohol, and guess what? They can't get off of it because they may have been introduced to it during an emotional time, during a breakup, during a death in the family. And now they go to alcohol, not for a social event or just to kick it. They go to alcohol because they're trying to drink away their pain. All right, the next one, demanding more privacy, locking doors, avoiding eye contact. And once again, these can all be symptoms from being around the wrong people. And I want you to see the correlation that these are symptoms for somebody that's under the influence of drugs and alcohol, but they can also be the same exact symptoms of one who is under the influence of another person. Keep that in mind, right? Sudden change in relationships, friends, favorite hangouts, and hobbies. Sometimes you hang around somebody that means you no good, right? Like I said before, they want to isolate you from the good people in your life. They want to isolate you from your family, isolate you from your spouse, your significant other, right? So they can have all the control. So a lot of times you're changing your hangouts, you're changing your relationships because now you're around this person all the time. You're going out places you shouldn't be. You're staying up late. If you're married, you're hanging with people that you shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? If you're in a relationship, you're hanging with people that you shouldn't be. And you're just becoming someone else. And it's slowly happening. Just like if you were to start drinking, you're slowly becoming under the influence. So you gotta really realize that. You gotta realize that these symptoms we got to take seriously, because sometimes we get around people and we do not know that we're becoming somebody different. Now we're going to look at frequently getting into trouble. So we're looking at arguments, fights, accidents, illegal activities. Once again, right? Once again, many people contribute this to being under the influence of drugs and alcohol, but I want you to think very closely. These same symptoms can be of somebody like, we all have that family member that's strung out on drugs, you know what I'm saying? And when you do the trace of how they got on it, they started hanging with somebody that was already doing it, and now this is what they do. But most of the times you got people trying to speak positive in your life, right? People trying to tell you they're no good to hang with, and now that provokes arguments and fights. Because now you got somebody being real to you saying, yo, you don't need to be hanging with them. You don't need to be around them. They're going to drag you down. And because you're not ready for the truth and you can't see it, you argue with the ones that actually love you, right? So we're looking at the next one. I believe that was the last one that we talked about. So let's go along to the psychological warning signs of someone who's using alcohol or drugs. Unexplained, confusing change of personality and or attitude. Right? So when we look at that, unexplained, confusing change in personality and or attitude. Sometimes you can have somebody in your family that's just coming home acting different, right? And we're going to talk about under the influence of people. They're acting funny, they're acting different because, like I said, they're around the wrong people and they're feeding their head with this crazy stuff, and they're trying to get them in a new environment. They're trying to isolate them, and that's why they're going to act differently. Their attitude and their personality is going to change, right? We're going to look at the next one. If somebody's under the influence of alcohol or drugs, you can have sudden mood changes. You can be irritable, angry outbursts, So we're looking at that from you being with somebody that you shouldn't. If you're under the influence of somebody. Sometimes ladies get in a relationship with a bad dude, and that guy wants to isolate them from their family. And so now what happens is their mood changes because the family's trying to tell them the truth. Trying to tell this young lady the truth, like, hey, you don't need to be with him. So it causes them to be angry all the time, right? And so you really got to look at that, like lack of motivation, inability to focus, appears lethargic or spaced out. Now that could be, with dealing with substance, but I would say lack of motivation and inability to focus sometimes can be from hanging around people. Because some people, like I said, they don't want you to win, man. And some people don't want you doing better or different than they are. Because I'm telling you, some people do not, they just love to be around like people. And so if they can bring you down, guess what? They got company. People don't like to be by themselves. So you got to really look at that. And when we look at today's episode, I really want you to ask yourself the question. Are you under the influence of someone or somebody? Are you under the influence? And so when you look at that, you really got to be clear with yourself. You really got to be honest, because sometimes we are, but we are afraid. We're so afraid to admit it. And then you're seeing a lot of this in our teenage children. You're seeing a lot of this in our adolescent children, like our middle schoolers and our elementary kids. And they're being influenced by so many people. And you're wondering why they're coming home talking different, while they're coming home acting different. You got to know who they're hanging with. You got to know who they're spending the night with. You got to know who they're going to the movies with, because I'm telling you, they're going to come home wearing another personality. And that's really all I got for today's episode is, are you under the influence of somebody? And I really want you to take home that I pulled out some behavioral signs of people that show these signs when they're under the influence of alcohol or drugs. But it's funny. And I want you, and I'm going to leave you with that. It's funny how some of these same symptoms are one that is under the influence of a person. And that's all I got for you guys today. Again, I am TeflonJohn, coming to you courtesy of the Art of Reinvention podcast show. And again, you can visit my website, www.imteflonjohn.com, to look at all my Facebook Lives, all my motivational videos, listen to all my podcasts. Please share this podcast across all your social media platforms. And if you would like to help the I Am TeflonJohn brand, you can simply start by sharing my content with at least 5 people. And as I always say, one love, be blessed. We would like to thank you for listening to this episode of The Art of Reinvention by TeflonJohn. And we encourage you to share this episode across all your social media platforms. And we also encourage you to visit our website at www.imteflonjohn.com and follow us on all our social media platforms at facebook.com/realteflonjohn, twitter.com/realteflonjohn, and instagram.com/realteflonjohn. And while you're on Facebook, go ahead and like our page so you can receive first-hand notifications every time we go live with the motivational video or any motivational content. And as I always say, one love, be blessed.